Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be doing a quick review, more of a compare and contrast, I guess, contrasting this aftermarket bracelet I got from my Seiko Samurai from LongIslandWatch.com. So this is an Islander, I think they call it a BRAC-02. I'll double check the product number and confirm that in the description. But yeah, it's an aftermarket bracelet. It's not from Seiko. It's from LongIslandWatch.com. It's they made it because Long Island Watch is now making their own Seiko Samurai homages, and this is the metal bracelet that they use with that particular homage watch. It's the same case dimensions as the actual Seiko Samurai, so it works well as an aftermarket bracelet for the Seiko Samurai, as you can see. It's from a dealer of Seiko watches and someone who's pretty well regarded, I think, in the watch enthusiast community. As Mark, the owner of Long Island Watch, is a watch YouTuber himself. I bought this bracelet. I'm obviously not a big enough deal for someone to give me stuff for free, but I got it because it's definitely a huge improvement over the rubber strap that came with the Seiko. As I was saying in my other video, that's not a very nice strap at all. So this was a huge upgrade. It cost me I think $60-70. So not a whole lot of money, but not nothing. And I'm going to be comparing this bracelet with the most expensive watch bracelet that I own, but not necessarily the best. This one. This is the metal bracelet from a Rolex 16570 Explorer 2 from around the year 2000. So this bracelet is it is 20 years old, and this bracelet from Long Island Watch is basically brand new. I got it about a month ago, and I've worn it a little bit. So we can kind of compare the two of them. It's not a fair comparison. The purpose of this comparison is not to be fair to Rolex or Islander, but to actually showcase just how far watchmaking standards, or I guess it's probably better to say watch bracelet making standards, have come in the past 20 years. To the extent that this $60-70 bracelet, I think in most objective ways, far exceeds the quality of this Rolex bracelet from 20 years ago, even though this bracelet is much, much more expensive. Even if you want to buy it today, because it is a Rolex, it's a collectible item, people want bracelets for their Rolexes. I don't know how much it would cost, but it's in the hundreds. But like I said, I think it's fair to say the newer bracelet is just objectively better. And that is a little surprising to me because it has just been 20 years, and the history of watchmaking goes back a long, long time. But to me, the year 2000, I'm an older millennial, so to me that seems like basically the contemporary era. But no, even in watchmaking, things have gotten better. So here's the most noticeable quality difference. This is the Rolex. You can see the clasp here is just pressed steel. It's quite thin. It's basically steel that's been stamped. It's like sheet steel that's been stamped. And similarly with the buckle here, it's just a sheet of steel that's been stamped. Whereas this is solid milled steel, so much more robust and just much more substantial of a clasp here. And then this is a double push button deployment clasp. That's kind of nice. I like that. I think it's very standard clasp construction. This part right here is milled steel, but just overall the construction of that is a lot more just robust and of higher grade steel. And this is pretty flimsy looking. And it's just a friction clasp as well. So there we go. It locks pretty securely, but it's the push button deployment is it's a little more fun to operate, I guess. Although I will say the push button deployment, because there's a few more moving parts, it can rattle a little bit, not a lot, just a little. Whereas this one is a little more solid. But the difference in quality and the clasp material is just so stark. The other thing that's pretty noticeable is right here. This is a solid end link. I'm not going to take it off because I don't want to bother, but it's a solid steel piece end link, just like the rest of the links. It's completely solid. Whereas on the Rolex, of course the links themselves are quite solid. They're quite nice. They have a pretty nice little polish to them, but the end link is just this right here. So you can see again, it's just a pressed bit of folded over steel. It's quite flimsy. I don't have it on the watch right now, as I normally don't wear my Explorer 2 on the bracelet, but you can see that's how it looks when it's attached to the bracelet, and then this attaches to the watch, and you know, it hugs the watch quite well, so you don't see like how hollow it is, but you can tell it is not a solid end link. You can tell it's a hollow end link from the way it sits on the watch. It just is a little more flimsy, and it just does not have the same substantial and quality feel that you get from a solid end link. All right, so yeah, I mean, those are both things that are like it surprised me when I first started getting into watches, just how much of a difference even 20 years can make in terms of the quality. So we're looking specifically at the bracelet, but here I'm also just talking about the watches themselves. So a 20-year-old Rolex has a lot of I love my Explorer 2, and it's a great watch, but it is 20 years old, and there are ways in which it's not as nice as cheaper watches that are more modern. Like, there are ways that are just objectively the standard for quality construction has gone up. So yeah, overall I've been enjoying this bracelet quite a bit. I would say of the bracelets that I own, it's kind of the middle of the pack, which doesn't sound like it's great, but I own a lot of bracelets from watches that are more expensive than the Seiko, right? So like the Seiko, again, cost me like just under $300. This bracelet cost me about $60. So all told, under $400 for this whole kit, right? And you know, there are bracelets, I mean, obviously the Rolex bracelet, which you've just seen. I've owned a ball that came on a metal bracelet. I've owned an Oris that came on a metal bracelet. So I've owned a few different watches that came on metal bracelets that are a slightly higher tier in price. And you know, like, this stacks up reasonably well against all of those. It's got the solid end link. It's got the milled clasp. It's got one thing I appreciate is it's got screw type pins here, and that's just my favorite mechanism for the links, because these pins are really easy to home resize. You just need like a tiny screwdriver and you can resize it at home, no problem. That's pretty cool. It's not like some of the systems are very fiddly to work with. Like the push pin one is kind of okay. Pin and collar, I hate resizing that. Like, I would never resize that at home. I would just take that to someone to get it resized. But the screw type is perfect, so I appreciate that. Yeah, it's kind of middle of the pack, and again, that means it's punching well above its weight, this bracelet, for how much it cost me. So I really am enjoying wearing this watch on the bracelet, and it's making me appreciate this watch even more, because like I said, the rubber strap that it came on stock, the Seiko rubber strap, was one of the worst things about it, and now there's very little that I really just flat out dislike about this watch. So yeah, overall I'm satisfied with my purchase. I think it's definitely a good option if you own a Seiko Samurai that came on a rubber strap. I would suggest picking it up. I think it's a good value for money. One thing I really appreciated when I didn't realize this until I actually put the strap on the watch, but the design of this metal bracelet is actually it's very thoughtful. Like, I'm sure, like, you know, it's some third-party OEM built it for Long Island Watch. Like, it's not like they did a whole lot of custom, you know, bespoke work here, right? Like, they're not that kind of outfit, but it's still a very thoughtful design, in that if you notice the profile of these links, this kind of trapezoid here, it matches the same angular trapezoid profile of the Samurai case itself, and that's smart. Like, that was a good choice on the part of Long Island Watch to do that, because anytime a design is more unified and displays a bit more thoughtfulness like that, it just makes it seem higher quality. So that's a very nice thing about this watch, this bracelet, that I didn't realize until I put it on, and I really appreciated once it was on the wrist, because it does just give the whole package a nice unified sense of design coherence, which is something I always appreciate. The joining of the metal bracelet to the watch case, it's not perfect. Like, it's I don't know if it's that much better or worse than how a stock Seiko bracelet would look, but it's, I've seen better. So like this kind of, the lugs kind of don't perfectly match up well with the links, but it's pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. And the bracelet itself, not a lot of flex. It is brand new. There is a tiny bit of jingle jangle just in this buckle, which I think is a very standard buckle. So that's not great, but overall very satisfied. Middle of the pack of the bracelets that I own. If I had things that I wish it, if I could suggest a few things that I wish it had. So my absolute favorite bracelet in my collection is the bracelet on my Baltic Aquascape. And that's it's a beautiful bracelet. It's the beads of rice bracelet, so it's very nice. But the thing that I like most about the Baltic bracelet is that it comes with quick release spring bars on the metal bracelet. And that makes swapping the metal bracelet so much easier. I think that's a very smart choice on Baltic's part, because they know their audience. For Baltic, their audience is the watch enthusiast, right? It's not really the person buying a watch in Macy's, just kind of the general consumer. It's someone who's really into watches. If you're buying a vintage inspired, micro brand dive watch for $800, you're a watch enthusiast, okay? And what do watch enthusiasts like to do? They like to change the straps on their watches. And I like doing that as well. I've got tons of straps for my watches. I like changing them up. As you can see, I often am not wearing my watches on their stock strap or bracelet package. But the annoying thing about watch bracelets is they can be kind of a pain in the butt to remove. So this actually has a drill lug hole, so it's okay. But even then, it takes like a minute to get it off and on, right? Like, especially getting it on. Getting it off is a little easier because you can just get right in there with the drill lug holes. But getting it on, you kind of have to pry the spring bars in. You've got to angle them in the right, just so, and so on. So it's not really something that you want to be doing every day. So as a consequence, what I find is, for those watches I own that have bracelets on them, if I get them on a bracelet, I'll just tend to leave them on the bracelet for a very long time and not bother, changing. And that's fine. But as a watch enthusiast, one thing I like to do is to change the look of my watch all the time by putting it on a different strap, putting it on an Ito strap, putting on a different leather strap. And just the fact that it's kind of annoying to change watch bracelets just compromises that. But the Baltic has quick release spring bars. I think that's a great choice for an enthusiast-oriented timepiece. And I'm sure, like, it doesn't make sense to put that on every watch you sell, especially one for more of a general consumer. Like I said, people who won't even know what a spring bar is and don't want to know, they just want to have a nice watch and put it on. Yeah, sure, it's kind of a waste of time to put a quick release spring bar on that. But if your target audience is the watch enthusiast, then I think it's a great thing. And Long Island watch and these Islander watches, like, their target audience, I feel like those are watch enthusiasts. Like, who is buying a Seiko homage watch that looks just like a Seiko Samurai? Who's going to buy an aftermarket bracelet for their Seiko Samurai? It's going to be a watch enthusiast, all right? So I'm sure, like, it would make it more expensive to get the quick release spring bars in here integrated into the end links of a watch bracelet. But I think that's something that's worth considering. So if Mark ever sees this video, Mark from Long Island Watch ever sees this video, that's something I would suggest, because I think that's exactly the sort of thing your watch enthusiast audience would really appreciate. So I don't want to make this a video about quick release spring bars. I love them. I think they're great. I especially love them when they came on a metal bracelet, which is normally what you don't expect. Usually you expect to see it on a leather strap. And so I'm not like taking huge points off of this for not having it, because it is sort of a extra nice thing to have as opposed to a absolute requirement. But it's just something to keep in mind to make it a perfect enthusiast-oriented product. I think it really should have the quick release spring bars. But as it stands, it's an excellent product. It's very good value for money. The design, like I said, is surprisingly thoughtful for an aftermarket strap, right? Like an aftermarket strap that actually looks like it was designed to go with the watch that it's sitting on, even though it's aftermarket. That's very cool. That's what you want to see in an aftermarket strap, something that doesn't look like you cobbled it together or like a Franken watch. It looks like it was meant to be to go together, which is what how this looks. So top marks for that. That was the comparison between the Seiko, or the Islander bracelet and the Rolex bracelet. I actually have another Seiko Samurai, which this one, the other Seiko Samurai I got, I think I am going to flip, which I'll probably include in the next video. And that one came on a stock Seiko bracelet, so I may film another short video in another week or so, just comparing those two and seeing if you already have a Seiko bracelet, if you want to consider upgrading to the Islander bracelet. I think if you have a Seiko Samurai that came on the rubber band, you definitely want to upgrade. I think that's a huge upgrade. Like going from that stock rubber strap to this metal bracelet has been a massive upgrade. I already enjoyed the watch. I enjoy it way more now. It was definitely worth it. But I'm still not sure about, I haven't taken a close look at the Seiko stock Seiko bracelet yet. I'm still not sure how I feel about the comparison there. So we'll see. All right. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video.